Guten Morgen, YouTube. Das ist my Kelly 7. Hier. In dem motorcycle. I don't know how to say it. Motorrad. I guess that's how they say it. Motorrad. See that stop sign? I slowed and I looked both ways. Ha ha ha. I once had a guy say, I unsubscribed the moment I saw you run that second stop sign. Ah, people. If you're going to be that persnickety in a subdivision, maybe I don't want you to subscribe to me. So, today, I've just been inspired by the radio about how the standards of things seem to have changed over time. I think I'll wait for this guy. So yeah, the standards seem to have changed, which is normal, you know, standards always change. But at the same time as people want to be more risque, apparently, you know, I guess it's the same as always, probably. There's always a force that opposes it and says, how dare you? So now, I guess in the radio they just said that if you wear something too revealing, then you'll be given a modesty poncho at the prom. Oh, that's funny. Modesty poncho. That's just the way things seem to go. There was a lady on the news this morning, an MSNBC reporter, whose name I do not recognize because I never watched that friggin' channel. It's basically the propaganda wing of the Democratic Party. But anyway, she, in 2010, she made some homophobic type posts, which I find really funny. She was castigated viciously for being homophobic. She made some kind of comments, and I don't know what it was because I didn't read any of them, but then she says, I don't believe I wrote those things. I believe I was hacked. That's a dedicated hacker right there. It's going to hack into your stuff and write articles, whole articles that are homophobic in content. That really takes some doing. So this whole political correctness thing is just getting out of hand. And I'm aware of it because I work, you know, for the state as a professor and as an administrator, and so I have to be careful as well not to offend anybody's sensibilities. It's just for the sake of professional survival. And then you get the crowd that'll say, well, you know, what about your freedom of speech? Well, yeah, you're right. There is a level of freedom of speech that you're supposed to enjoy, but freedom of speech guaranteed in the Constitution is guaranteed against the government restricting your freedom of speech. Not... What is going on with this guy? So anyway, the government cannot restrict your freedom of speech according to the Constitution, but private entities can. And I believe this. I had a lawyer come and speak to a group of us professors once, and he said that even though we're state employees, we still don't have, you know, that freedom of speech protection against being fired. Although there have been some cases where professors have been the decision has gone in their favor, let's say, in a freedom of speech case. See, professors think they have, you know, academic freedom to say things, and they really don't. Depends on the court, really. And I think in North Carolina, you're pretty much screwed if you say things that the school finds offensive. And that's, I guess, you know, that's their purview. They can do it. Even though they're a state school, I don't understand how that works. But then there's another thing. I made a comment years ago that I regret. I said at the time that hate speech is not protected speech, and I was wrong. In terms of the government, the only kind of speech that's not protected is speech that advocates or causes violence. Like if you yell fire in a crowded theater, that's the famous example. Or if you say, you know, I think people ought to go out there and start, you know, killing hobos or something. I said hobos, not homos, in case anybody's like, he said kill gay people. No, I didn't. I was making a ridiculous, innocuous joke. Kill hobos. If I said that, and I meant it, and somebody went out and killed a hobo because of it, well then, you know, I can go to jail for that. But I think that's reasonable to make that claim, to believe that, yeah, you should go to jail if you tell somebody to kill somebody and then they do it. But if I say, you know, this race of plaid people is superior to this other race of non-plaid beige or green people, then I think that's protected. And if I want to have a march and walk down the street with my goofy looking flag saying that my race is better or somebody's race is better than somebody else's race, this melanin content is superior to that. If you want to go down the street and say that, that's protected speech, and the cops should protect you. But I don't think it's appropriate for the government to restrict your right to say something embarrassing about a group of people. Let's say you make a joke about black people dance this way and white people dance that way. Well, now you've just offended two groups of people, right? The black people say, hey, how dare you say that we dance this way? And then the white people say, how dare you say we dance this way? That's racism. The government can't restrict that. Or if I say fat people are X, or ugly people are Y, or women are this, or gay people are that, government should not be restricting that kind of speech. Sure, my Dunkin Donuts manager can fire me if I say something that that manager doesn't like. Yeah, I think that's okay. That's private. Remember, the Constitution restricts government authority, not private. So this news lady who said some allegedly homophobic things, I don't know, I didn't read it. If MSNBC wants to fire her, go right ahead. I don't care. I think it's kind of ridiculous that people get so offended about everything. But in that case, with that lady, she was saying it in a serious way, so I think that is kind of like, well, come on, lady. But if it's a comedian making a joke, it's a joke. Get over it. That's why comedians don't speak at universities anymore. Because people are too damn sensitive. There are some people who get offended if you say Happy New Year, or sorry, not Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. They get offended if you say Merry Christmas. Well, what about all the religions? So then, you know, people say, well, to not offend people, let's say Happy Holidays, and then you offend the people who say Merry Christmas. People need to get over this. All right, apparently we're not going anywhere. All right, on another topic, totally unrelated. I watched the video that answered a question somebody asked. Somebody said, hey, I wonder how my 110 stage 4 tire shredder Harley would do against your 114 stage 4 Milwaukee 8. And I saw a video by Matt Laidlaw. If you haven't subscribed to Matt Laidlaw, you should. He's out in California, and he is the son of a Harley dealer. I guess he's a Harley dealer, whatever. But he knows his stuff, and so he and his buddy went out on the two different bikes to see how they performed. And Matthew said it best. He says, look, if you're going from red light to red light, and it's mostly low-end stuff, like 3,000 to 4,000 RPMs, the 110 is a better deal, because you get that low-end torque. If you're on the highway, and you like to rev between 4,000 and 6,000, then the Milwaukee 8 is the better deal. So really it depends on what you're into. And then the other thing he said, which was interesting, if you're on the Milwaukee 8, there's a governor that stops you from going faster than 120. But the tire shredder, the twin cam tire shredder thing, there is no governor. Isn't that something? So you could go up to 140 on one of those things. So which one's better? Well, I hate to say it, but I think the 110 is probably better. Oh well, I'll just keep my inferior bike. I don't really foresee a time when I would want to go 140. I think 120 would be plenty. But there you go, that answers the question. So I might go back in my comments and try to paste that link in to the person who asked that question. And I think that also is for Carolina Bones. She was asking something similar. So there you go, Carolina Bones. There's your answer. If you have a 110, you'll take me stoplight to stoplight, and I'll take you on the highway until we get up to 120, and then you pass me. So there you go. What the hell? You seeing this? Yes, it's art student finals day. Alright. Mike Haley 7, talk to you later.